I'm continuing my flex tools exploration with this 2.5-inch compact bandsaw. Isn't it cute? The question is, do I really need this, or is this a solution looking for a problem? This is a tiny little tool, and I have a larger version of one of these. It's a Metabo, but since we've been reviewing all these flex tools, I just figured, hey, I might as well check this one out because I've seen the DeWalt one, and I thought, well, is this something that I might use on the job site, and how often? This would replace like a metal cutting Sawzall or reciprocating saw, and it's gonna do a little bit cleaner cut usually, depending on the type of blade you get for it. So the compact bandsaw market, this might come in really handy for plumbers, electricians, and things of that nature. I don't know necessarily if it's gonna be something that a deck builder is gonna use all the time. I can show you one thing that I totally would use this for. It's cutting helical piles down. Unfortunately, this pile is a 3-inch pile, and this has a 2.5-inch throat capacity. So I'm gonna have to run around it a little bit to get this to cut. So let's go ahead and get the blade on there, because it does come with one, and then let's see how it does, okay? I'm using a 3.5 amp hour battery. So this tool, the battery goes in right here. There is a safety mechanism for the trigger, so the trigger is locked out until you push the side, either way, right or left. Once you push it to the side, the safety mechanism, the trigger will depress, okay? There's a locking mechanism here. I'm gonna release this safety cage. There's 2 little levers here. Pull these across, and then this opens up like so. So when I unlock this lever, it releases this wheel and pushes it down. And that is how we're going to get this blade on this saw. So usually I just run this like so around here, and then I stick this in like so. So now it's in the track, the blade is in, and I'm gonna pull this lever over here. This is gonna move this way and tension the blade. That took a little bit of force. So that's on, okay? So now that that's on, I can pull this safety cover back over and lock it down as well, like so. So now the only place that I can get cut is this 2.5-inch area right here. There is a rafter hook on it as well, so that's kind of cool. Sometimes that comes in real handy. You can hang it on pipe, ladders, that kind of thing. And since we have the blade locked in, we're gonna go ahead and engage the battery. Now that we're locked and loaded, we have a full battery. Usually I like to go a couple revolutions to make sure that the blade is tracking well inside of here. Sometimes, I don't know if it's recommended or not, guys, but you could even pull this off. And just for the video purpose, I'm gonna open this cage so you can see what's going on here, okay? So the trigger is variable speed, which is cool. And you can kind of see how the blade is rolling around the saw. And then this part right here, this is what you're gonna nest your metal or whatever you're trying to cut. The blade's gonna try to drag you this way. So once it hits this is when it's gonna do its best cutting. So we're gonna try and cut this big old 1-inch bolt. There's a ball bearing right here that the blade can roll on. There's another set over here. So it's a dual set of ball bearings that kind of help keep this guided properly so that you can be a little more accurate. You'll notice that this is on an angle, so you have to kind of square your cuts if it's important. If you're just cutting metal to cut it, great, do whatever you want. But if you're trying to cut things square, you gotta kind of line up to this indicator, this guide right here, okay? All right, so let's get safe and let's put this guard back down. We have a few things that I have examples of that we can cut. So I think I'll start by just knocking all these off, because these are all hammered heads and I don't really want to keep them in rotation, because I wouldn't strip something or have a partially stripped screw and then use it on a build. So we might as well just cut all these off and see how we do with that. And then we'll get into some of these thicker metals. Like this right here, this is a legitimate use for me when I'm cutting things. I usually use our bigger bandsaw for that application, but I just thought since we're on this flex platform, it might be cool to try this little compact one. And I've seen other brands, like I said before, and I thought, oh, that might be cool, but do I really need it? I don't know. Let's make some cuts with it and see how well it cuts and how it feels in my hand. So let's go ahead and make a couple cuts. You ready? Okay. Not super powerful, but a nice clean cut, brand new bandsaw blade. You can buy extra blades at, I would say at Lowe's, because that's where I bought this tool, was at Lowe's Home Improvement. So those all worked pretty good. Now I'm gonna make a low cut, and I'm gonna cut through the threads of all these. These are Fasten Master Versalocks. So we just kind of cut through the tops. It's probably 1/4 inch steel, maybe 5/16. Looks like 1/4 inch. Let's go ahead and just ride this right along the base of this 4x6 and see what we got cutting them like that. Okay, see how I started over here and immediately wanted to drag the tool? So remember, it's better if you have the base plate up against whatever you're trying to cut. Okay, so far so good. Nice. So for mild steel, small stuff, it works really well. But what if you have a $27 bolt, a 1-inch $27 bolt that you need to cut? Well, let's find out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and lock this down with a clamp. I'm going lefty this time, guys, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this on the threads. And you know, we can go ahead and take this nut off. 1-inch steel bolt, here we go, galvanized. Instead of using a Sawzall or a reciprocating saw, this is again a lot cleaner way to do your work. I doubt this is gonna thread back on here at the moment. Basically, if you're gonna cut a bolt and you're gonna need the nut still, it's better to thread the nut onto the bolt and then cut it and then back the nut off so that you can re-establish the threads so that the nut goes back on easier. That's what I normally would do, but because this is so rusted, we couldn't get it to thread on more than the thickness of this, so didn't really matter. So that's 1-inch steel. That cut pretty good, but it does take a little bit of time. All right, guys, I wanted to show you more about this bigger bandsaw, but we're having some slippage issues with the blade. But just for size comparison, there you go. Again, side by side. This is a much more powerful saw. I could totally feel it, but it's not cutting as good as this is because it's slipping. We're gonna put this away and continue on with this for our testing purposes, okay? The real reason why I would want this saw is so that I could cut through a helical pile once it's installed in the ground, okay? This is the problem I'm gonna have. I can see it, it's a pretty big problem. This saw will not probably make it through here even if I go around it, but let's see how deep we can go. Hey, we got a little bit of a cut on it and I didn't even turn it on. That would be probably a stickler for me because I use these size piles quite a bit. I don't really use a smaller version too much. I have some and we have used them in the past, but I would really need this tool to be able to cut through this efficiently for me to keep it. If I can't do that with this tool, then I'm probably not gonna be able to use it. I'll probably take it back. All right, so let's see what happens. Not quite, guys. Oh, wait a minute. I can see light through there. All right. Obviously, if we had a line drawn on this, it might be helpful. Well, I'm making a mess. I keep tracking out. I think really, to do this properly, guys, I need a little bit bigger bandsaw, to be honest. I could probably knock this off with a hammer or not, but it's gonna take several minutes. The whole idea of having a tool like this is that it's efficient and it does it in a timely fashion. And unfortunately, this particular tool doesn't fit my application, but it doesn't mean that it's not a good tool. So It cuts bolts just fine, cuts smaller fasteners just fine. It's just not gonna do the heavy duty big stuff because it's a compact saw. It's designed for smaller things and smaller spaces. So hey, that's all right. If you like this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, the bell icon, but don't forget to check out our podcast. Links below in the description. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.